24,000 restaurants.
Help plate. All the food is sitting here.
My goal is to have the best restaurant in New York City.
3 businesses fighting for their piece of a $34 billion industry.
There's always a next great restaurant opening.
Are we as busy as we want to be? No.
An empire in transition.
With Michael gone, the pressure is unilaterally pointed at me.
For the first time ever, we lost money. We have a problem, and if we don't turn it around, we go out of business.
A high-profile partner going it alone.
I've learned how to open up a successful business with Daniel, and now it's time for me to go out and do it on my own. I'm raising $1 million. It's absolutely a scary thing. I'm putting everything on the line.
A headstrong restaurateur struggling to win over New York.
If this relaunch does not succeed, I really have to pull the plug on the restaurant.
In this world, you either eat or get eaten.
Trust me, this is not a witch hunt.
What if we do it, and the people simply just don't like it? You really want me to say that on camera?
I want the truth.
Consumed. Previously on Consumed.
You come into work, and you want to be better than me, period, and done.
And I have to work harder, and that sucks for me.
Ah, this is f***ing bullshit. I want to get out of here, man. This business has put a real wall between us. I have to take a step out of the day-to-day operations.
Personally, I think it's a terrible mistake. This is not how I imagined things going, but what am I gonna do? Weep? The Lower East Side sales are down 10%, and it's an emergency right now.
I want to go down to Stanton Street and see what's going on. You showed up like late. Michael was great at motivating the staff. It's what he did. Is there any way that you can spend like 5 minutes just organizing it? With Michael gone, it's on me to get them back on board. We have a problem, and if we don't turn it around, we go out of business.
Recently, I've stepped back from the day-to-day operations from the meatball shop. The meatball shop was a stepping stone in my career that's given me the confidence to go out and create again. I'm the kind of guy that loves opening restaurants.
My goal is to have the best restaurant in New York City, outside of all the meatball shops, on par with all the meatball shops.
I've been passionate about seafood for a long time.
New York City is missing a seafood restaurant that does not cost a lot of money to eat in, that you want to go to 5 days a week.
The concept behind my new restaurant, Seymour's, is fun, accessible seafood.
That's a winner. That's a winner right there.
If we can be known for the best fish taco in New York, I've done my job.
That's exactly 1 pound.
Fish is very different than meatballs, and quite frankly, it's a lot more risky. Fish is one of the most expensive proteins and, without a doubt, the most perishable. The expectations are a lot higher with seafood than they are with ground beef. Take a bite of it. The sweetness in the brioche is really
Nice.
yeah, dude. The main difference between the meatball shop and Seymour's is I'm doing it alone. I don't have a partner. I own 100% of Seymour's. This is my first venture stamping my name and solely my name onto a project. There's not much room for failure in this business. This has to work for me. I've got a lot at stake.
You know, we have about, I don't know, 5 months max until we open this restaurant.
Well, you got to maximize your profits and quality fish. It's, you know, we try our best.
The budget for the Seymour's project is $1 million. It breaks down to roughly $450,000 in construction, $450,000 in operating budget, and then $100,000 in the bank for operating capital once we're open. Do I have it right now? No. Is there a chance that I won't get it? Yes. I've put in $100,000 of my own money, and the rest of the money is coming from outside investors.
Good to see you.
Me too.
Come on down.
It's the most expensive restaurant I've ever created. It's scary.
If anybody can do it, I think it's this team. And it's how we package it, it's how we present it, and it's how we make it affordable.
It was integral for this concept and for me to feel confident in this concept, to find a chef that really knows his way around seafood.
Look, 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 it's twitching. You see how it's moving?
Oh my God.
When you eat this, like you've eaten a scallop. You've never eaten a scallop till you've eaten it while it's moving like that.
That's why I chose Greg. Greg worked at Le Bernardin for over 3 years. The #1 seafood restaurant arguably in the world.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, hold that.
But I'm taking a big risk with Greg because I've never worked with him.
Yeah, you're the chef. I actually leave it to you. However you want to do it.
And then Greg has never opened up a restaurant as the chef.
Dude, I'm freaking out, dude. I gotta.
But I wouldn't be where I am at with Greg if I didn't think Greg can do it.
I mean, chef here. I got every trust in chef here.
Robert is the general manager of the concept.
Congrats.
He is the quintessential hospitality guy. I believe Robert is the guy that will keep people coming back. The team is right here. It's amazing. It's epic. Robert and Greg are the key people on my team. That said, if we fail, there's only one person to blame. I cannot blame Daniel anymore.
Degustation kebab, Limandang Vindaloo, shrimp curry, lobster Portuguese.
Why are we not running the food? Help plate. All the food is sitting here.
Is there a mission behind your restaurant?
Is to transform the perception of Indian food. Vermilion is my baby. It's 2 restaurants, one in Chicago, one in New York.
Who is this food for?
This food is for anyone who will pay for it. That's a Portuguese pork sandwich with an Indian tamarind sauce. So that's the Indian Latin melding. The menu is steeped in Indian cuisine and Latin from Nicaragua and Chile. That is the core of the restaurant. My end game would be to do for Indian cuisine what Nobu did for Japanese, what David Chang did for Korean. People love it. They're flocking to it. So that's what I want Indian to be, but with the Latin melding that I've created.
Looks fantastic.
We had an extra payroll taken out in error, which is like 14 grand. Before being a restaurateur, I worked at the World Bank. My PhD is in development economics. After 10 years of working professionally in the US, I couldn't find much to justify our heritage. Indian cuisine was being misrepresented grossly, especially in the US. So even though my restaurant experience was 0, I decided to take the plunge and went headlong into restaurants 11 years ago. I opened Vermilion Chicago in 2003. Within 2 months of opening, the place is packed. The press and media loved our unique Indian Latin concept. 5 years after I decided I was ready for expansion. Guys, I'm very upset with the food timing. There's no food there. It's been 1 hour. I opened New York in 2008, a month after Lehman Brothers went belly up. So it couldn't have been a harder time to raise money. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I approached at least 150 investors to land up with 14. This is a 14,000 square foot location on Park Avenue, and there was over $5 million in capital invested. Within 1 month of opening New York, I knew that this was going to be an uphill battle. When I read our first New York Times write-up, my blood froze. It really cut off our aspirations because the local press followed the New York Times like a flock. They either ignored us or they indicted us. And that meant we did not exist. Are we as busy as we want to be? No, far from it. So this is a critical moment for us. So while Vermilion has been consistently breaking even over the last 6 years, we have not paid our investors in distributions, and that is something I really want to address.
What are the annual sales overall of Vermilion?
I'm not comfortable divulging that.
What's the ballpark? Is it a little or is it a lot?
If the first course is late, then everything will be late. To fail here would not only be a devastating personal failure for me, it would be a huge setback to our aspirations because it's so easy to build and expand and launch from success, especially having conquered New York.
Because you deserve to succeed.
I think so too, but it's an uphill battle. Other people are like exploding their culture, their cuisines, and we just keep hovering on the fringes. So I've decided to relaunch Vermilion New York so that it finally gets the credit that it deserves. So to reboot Vermilion, we're completely revamping the menu. I had asked you to redo our 4 flagship dishes, right? We need to nail our menu. We can't do PR until we nail it. Second is honing in on service with just laser-like precision. Unless the guest has a phenomenal service experience, they won't come back, period. The third is in the PR.
So with this relaunch, I want to see phenomenal reviews from the critics.
That is quite important. It's just not a freak phenomena that you get known. We need that New York Times review. That changes the map of whether you're a player on the dining scene or not. If through this relaunch I don't see very clear evidence in the next 3 months of sales increasing by 50%, then I would consider this a failure, and then I really have to pull the plug on the restaurant because this is our best shot. This is really, really high stakes for us. Our singular goal is to win over every New Yorker one at a time.
The sales at our first restaurant are falling. And we had a meeting at the restaurant where we heard from the staff what they think the problems are. And now it's time for us to take all that information and actually fix the problems and turn it around. So Stan Street is the first store that we opened. It's not in good shape. I don't feel a sense of urgency and excitement, and we have to fix this, and we're gonna drive into it.
And they're not as excited about the food and the culture and the shop as they were before, and that is translating.
The number one thing that I heard was about generosity. They said this company was built on being extremely generous to the customers that walk through the door. Like, somebody came in, it was their first time, we'd buy them something. If they were a return customer, we'd buy them something.
We've kind of taken a focus off the neighborhood, and they really want to get back in there again. Better communication between the front of the house and the back of the house was a big deal.
The bad news is this is like restaurant 101, so it's scary.
Yeah, it's scary. The other concern was, while the meatballs are absolutely delicious, we're having a difficult time holding them hot, so we really need to focus in on that. And then
for me, that's like number one. If our meatballs aren't the best, most amazing thing anybody's ever sunk their teeth into, we're sinking.
Right.
Yeah, we have to make the
Check
controls.
temps more often,
We got
not
to make
just
the
at
controls a
lunch,
lot
yeah.
tighter, and they can't get too far ahead. They got to be a little bit more on it, and probably look at maybe some equipment options that might do a better job of holding them for a longer period of time. I can't believe I've let our flagship store fall this far. I know this is bad on a business level, but it's worse on a personal level. Because it's my baby and I've neglected it, and it's on me to turn it around.
Our 5th year anniversary is coming up, and I want to have all of the stuff that we can fix fixed so that we can sit down with the staff and say, hey guys, this is an opportunity for us to turn this place around and make sure that moving forward, we have another 5 years of success. We have a massive problem, which is our sales are way down, and if we don't turn them around, we will ultimately lose our business. We need to fix this now.
Coming up,
I did not feel like that service was good. It has to be above and beyond, otherwise they won't come back.
and later.
It's $23,000 a month.
That's a little more than we wanted to spend. Considerably more than we wanted to spend. $23,000 is a lot of rent. I'm concerned.
I recently hired a mystery diner to review our service, and I'm very keen to see his report because this will give me an accurate pulse point of where service stands today and of what we exactly need to work on. Here we go. I sauntered into Vermilion at 8:19 p.m. Within moments, I was greeted by a slightly scruffy server with a friendly demeanor. Friendly is good, scruffy is appalling. He briefly suggested the artichoke pakoras, the skirt steak, and the chimichurri New York strip. It's a miss because he could have easily suggested a degustation of appetizers. A choice of 4 would have swung the check average from $8 or $9 for the artichoke pakoras to $24 for a degustation. Directly after my dinner order was taken, a party of 4 was leaving. A back server cleared the table off, brought out a used tablecloth, tossed it on the floor, and proceeded to use it as a mop on the floor to clean something that had leaked. Makeshift mops are not a good look on the floor in front of guests. I couldn't agree more. I was not asked midway through my unique drink if I wanted another. There we lose a chance to sell another drink. Can't believe this. I would have ordered so much more if only someone would have suggestively sold. To me, this is like the worst incident of the night. I would like to do a warning write-up for this. Or perhaps more. That's just unacceptable. I realized the critical importance of fixing service to our entire relaunch. And it's really important that I meet the mystery diner to really tangibly understand what he experienced. Somebody's really bungled up big time on this.
Today, what I'd like to get accomplished with Greg is to nail down some of the recipes so that he and I see eye to eye on flavor profiles for each dish and what they look like.
A lot of the flavor concept for this restaurant is going to lie in like what we come up with as workhorse sauces or things that are the backbone of the flavor profile of what we're doing.
I'm with you. What can I do? Put me to work, man. The whole point of this concept, as similar to the meatball shop, is simple, simple, simple. Let the ingredients speak for themselves. A little acidic. I think we need to cut it with a little.
Yeah?
You don't think you're not? No. Really?
No, I don't find it to be too acidic. No way.
It's pretty acidic, dude. It needs to balance a little bit. You don't get that acid, that heavy, heavy acid?
I do, but I imagine it with like so much other stuff.
I feel like we might have to cut the the lime a little bit.
Really? I find this to be like pretty subtle.
Greg is a chef, and chefs typically like their food a little bit more acidic and a little bit saltier than general.
Now, what type of dressing did you have for this?
Apple cider vinaigrette. And it was the same issue that I had with Daniel. Exact same thing. The food that he cooked, I thought it was too acidic, too salty. It's pretty it's got a lot of vinegar in there, no?
You don't like it?
No, I like balanced. When the acid overpowers everything else, like I feel like I'm out of whack, I'm out of balance.
It is not acidic, man. This is not acidic, dude. No way. No way. That is not acidic. There's something wrong with your palate, dude. I think Michael's weaknesses is that he's never run a seafood restaurant before. And I think, no pun intended, it's a little bit of a different animal. We're gonna have a lot of hurdles, and it's gonna be challenging.
You know what I'm gonna say.
Too acid? It's f***ing ceviche, bro.
You're not tasting too much citrus in there?
No way. You know who your palate reminds me of? My dad's palate.
I'm not telling you how to be a chef. I know you know how to be a chef. We just gotta like be on the same page there because it's, you know, you'll be leading a team. Greg and I, we have the exact same idea for what the food should be. Just finding a balance between his palate and my palate. We're struggling on it, and this is $1 million investment. And I am taking a risk with Greg because he's never opened up a restaurant as a chef before. But Greg knows who's in charge. Acid is a really, really, really overpowering flavor profile.
Got you.
Okay.
Every single year, less customers walk in through that door, and every single day I get complaints that the food isn't as good as it's supposed to be. It's not hot, it's not seasoned well. You should be tasting it. If you like it, you're like, chef, I like this. What do you think? And then he can say, these are delicious, or you know, they need more salt. And you could say, I don't know, let's taste it together. You mix it together, you taste it again, you're like, you're right, or maybe they're too salty, let's get Seamus involved. And we talk about it because we care about what we're doing, because we're like chefs. We care. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lack of leadership at the Lower East Side. In the beginning, it was Daniel Holzman in the back and Michael Chernow in the front. And we cared about the meatball shop like it was the only thing on earth. And I don't expect the employees to feel the exact same way that the owners of the company feel, but I do expect them to give more than they're giving right now. And so I'm going to work with the managers and with the staff personally to get them back on track.
Lo pasta aquí. Así. Comprende? Okay, gracias. The idea is that you put hot water in the bottom, and then you put it on top, and it sits over there, and it stays steamy hot the whole time. You know what I mean? But realistically, if we just heated up the meatballs properly and held them hot and cared about it a little bit and paid attention, then we wouldn't have a problem.
We have a number of problems to fix, and one of them is the meatballs just aren't staying hot enough. So I'm going to put a heat lamp above the meatballs.
Hold on. Let me just go like this.
And hopefully that'll help the problem.
Ah, you f***ing sucker. All right. That's not enough sauce on those sliders. Be generous with the sauce, all right? It's gonna be dry. Look. And the same thing with this. I always put the top like this, so it's flat. Look, I can put that much sauce. Gentle, 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 like you're making love to it.
We just need to remember what made the meatball shop great in the first place, and we need to recreate that experience with every single guest.
Big issue from the meeting was the buyback policy, the idea that he should feel very comfortable if somebody is a regular at the bar, giving them some food and bringing them something to drink so that they are, like, stoked. How often do you come here?
This is my second time, but I just moved in next door.
Where are you from? Really? How's that
I got
feel?
a studio next door.
Well done. Susio, he wanted to be able to give people out his card and say that he worked at the meatball shop.
On certain days.
On certain days, so look at this. Behold your ability to write your name and your schedule, and then you could give it to this beautiful woman and you could say, if you want to find me at the meatball shop, You can find me here on these days.
If you want to avoid me, you can come on any other day.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, give me some of those. Hey. It takes a lot of energy to like invigorate and make people excited, but it's what is necessary, period. I feel like we do not need a new staff. We just need a little bit of personality and leadership, and I recognize that that's not easy. So it's your job to like say to her, you're not doing anything, let's go run some food. And then like, it's your job to say to him like, hey, that looks great, but there isn't enough sauce on the side. Are you about to 86? Like, you have to be a Barney level douchebag in order to make, you know who Barney is? Okay, you have to literally pretend you're Barney for the day. Just go in and be like, hey guys, here's the deal. We're gonna make meatballs, all right? It just takes a couple of hours of having fun and reminding everybody that the food is delicious here and it's a special place to work and they can actually have a great time. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. For people to start smiling and being passionate again, which is actually like the whole point of working at the meatball shop. Take off those gloves, I want to give you a hug. I'm going home. I love you. I thank you.
What were your 4-5 observations on things we should be doing differently, purely from a front-of-the-house service operations standpoint? I brought in our mystery diner, so I want to see what his pulse is on service.
I don't think this space is broken. The space is amazing, but it needs love. But I did not feel like that service was good. I felt that the server seemed overwhelmed a lot of the time. I felt like that the server wasn't happy to be here. I didn't see a smile on her face out there when she greeted the guests. I saw her touching her hair a lot on the floor. I don't see people with a lot of energy in the front of the house. I don't see people happy to suggestively sell. I don't see people happy to add on. I don't see people asking for that second drink. You have to hold the staff to a certain amount of service, and you have to guide them by their hand. In such a selective restaurant, when people walk through the door, starting with the greeting and starting with the salesmanship, it has to be above and beyond to exceed their expectations. Otherwise, they won't come back. And so I think with the quality of food...
You're preaching to the choir. All of us are very well aware of it. This is a tangible issue we have to deal with. I completely am with you. And I want to thank you. Your mystery report was very helpful to us. We're holding our whole team accountable. Lonnie's report on our service didn't come as a huge revelation, but the level of some aspects of neglect really took me aback and showed me that the issue is more chronic than I'd even suspected. That the situation came to this is unacceptable. We cannot even contemplate a relaunch if we don't fix the issue of service. I really need to take action now to fix our service before things get any worse. So thank you again for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be in touch.
I've been spending a lot of time at Stanton Street. You've been there all week. I want to talk about how much progress we've made and how we feel going into the 5th anniversary party.
After speaking to the staff, I feel like they feel better, they feel like they were heard, and that was a lot of what was holding us back there.
How's the heat lamp working out?
I don't think the heat lamp is working out as we would have liked. But we do have Plan B, which is to implement the balls per hour PARs, which breaks down exactly how many balls we serve of what kind per hour, therefore knowing exactly how much we need backed up and heated. And there
So
are
rather than
always
kill the
hot
symptom,
balls.
actually fix the problem. And
That's correct.
Fresher, hotter, that's a better option anyway.
Well, I agree. Where do you feel like we are? Are we ready for the 5 years?
I think that next week when we have the anniversary, we're going to feel a big difference because of the work we've been putting in while you've been there. The service has gotten better. I definitely feel like we're going to see and feel a difference.
Even though we have a lot more to do, the fact of the matter is sales improvements are getting better, check average is getting better, we have more guests coming into the shop, feels better in the shop. There's no question whether or not we're on the right track, and we'll get to where we want to be.
It's amazing to see the peaks and, rising higher, and overall it's balancing out, and we're all well on our way.
Right.
On that note, I still haven't heard back about fixing the crack on the sidewalk at Stanton.
Call 311.
Call 311?
This is like the goddamn Middle Ages. I can fix it myself. Have them fix it tomorrow.
So guys, I found the space for Seymour's, and it is an incredible location.
Where is it?
It's on the corner of Broome and Mulberry.
Nice corner.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah. This space is a crossroads between 4 neighborhoods. It gets more foot traffic on a year-round basis than any other neighborhood outside of Times Square. It's 1,500 square feet, 30 feet of frontage on Broome Street, 60 feet on Mulberry. The ceilings upstairs are 13 feet. The ceilings downstairs are 10 feet. It's like unbelievable. I walked by it the other day and I saw a sign and I called it. And I think I'm gonna make a deal with this landlord. It's $23,000 a month. It works out to $184 a square foot.
That's a little more than we wanted to spend, and that's considerably more than we wanted to spend.
It's about $72,000 a year, more than what we had originally anticipated. I believe this space is critical to the success of Seymour's, and I simply cannot let it go. This space will cost me $23,000 a month in rent or $184 a square foot. Substantially more than the average $130 per square foot we pay at the meatball shop. I had originally planned on a max budget of $17,000 a month. Yes, the space is definitely more expensive, but it also gives me 36 more seats than I had originally anticipated, which should more than make up the additional $6,000 in rent I'll be paying each month.
$23,000 in New York City is a lot of rent. You know, already we have to do a certain number of covers just to pay off that rent every single day. You know, I'm concerned.
It's a corner that I don't want to pass up. As you guys know, I haven't raised all the money for the restaurant yet, so I'm gonna take the $100,000 that I'm investing into the business and write a check and secure this lease. I know it's sort of a ambitious move, but I know it's the right thing to do. I am where I am because I make decisions like this.
One of the things that Michael has been really great at with the meatball shop has been the ability to find these diamonds in the rough. He first saw the great Lower East Side space, he got Daniel to see it, and they both fell in love with it. You know, that's where I trust him, but from my perspective, I'm about the bottom line. I need to make sure that we can become a profitable restaurant quickly. I've spent some time researching the cost for some of the seafood that we're cooking and tasting. I have some concerns that the food cost is really high. What can we do to really reduce that food cost without raising prices?
I think the prices are really high because we're using very popular species of fish that a lot of other restaurants use. If we go with these big species, you know, cod, tuna, salmon, striper, we're not going to be able to hit the price point consistently that we want to get everybody in the door. We want to open a restaurant for the people. One way that we could maybe get in a little bit cheaper is by using underutilized species of fish.
What does that mean, underutilized fish?
You know, stuff that generally is throwaway fish that people might not be as familiar with, but are a little bit more cost effective for a restaurant. Like skate wing, for instance, squid, porgy. I think we need to check it out. It might be an opportunity to undercut the price.
I think it's something interesting to add to the concept, but if people are gonna walk into a seafood restaurant and see no salmon, no tuna, no cod, no halibut, no striped bass, nothing that they're familiar with that they've ever eaten before, are they gonna go for it? That's the question.
Well, I don't think that we're introducing something that doesn't exist, you know? And I think that's what this seafood is. It just got forgotten about. We're gonna bring it back into the limelight.
I think that this is a very interesting element to consider for the concept. But before we sit here and all make a decision and say, hey, let's never serve salmon at Seymour's, let's do some research. Let's all take a couple of days to just look at it, see what's out there, see who's doing it, see who's not doing it. It is a huge risk. Serving fish that people know of as sort of junk fish, trash fish, throwaway fish, that's what it is, right? If all those things work out that we just talked about, financially it works, it tastes amazing, we find a resource that we can get it from on a consistent basis, it could be a risk worth taking.
Coming up.
Hi, how are you? Our wait is about 3 hours right now.
3 hours?
Yeah.
I felt totally separated. Max was doing what I do, which is standing at the door and greeting people, and it felt terrible.
Good evening, everyone. I know many of you are new, but some new faces. This service meeting is the beginning of retraining our entire team, including several new team members. So do I expect perfection today? No. But do I expect everybody trying their level best and showing that they've studied and prepared for it? Yes, absolutely. How many of you have read the Mystery Diner report that's hanging up there? I just want to see a show of hands. You have? Rose? That's it? That, to me, is a big red flag in and of itself. I want our entire team to know the things that went wrong so that none of us repeat any of this again, right? This is a critical moment for us. We're relaunching a whole new menu in 5 weeks. We can do all we want around the food. The place can be phenomenal and gorgeous, but unless we nail the service, they won't come back, period. I also want to bring Michael onto the floor. Mike has been with Vermilion since inception for over 10 years in Chicago. He's in charge of training. He co-manages, he handles events, and his interaction with guests is amazing. So there's a lot you can learn from him.
Mike gets our philosophy and who we are and our food and the complexities and the nuances. There is not a single table that he's touched that is not absolutely charmed with their experience. And that's really what I want every guest to walk out experiencing.
Rohini and I are going to sit down, and we're going to choose a server to come up, and you're just going to go ahead and approach us like you would any other table. You're going to need to pick up on some hints that we're dropping and try to guess what the scenario is, and then go that route.
Here's the thing, we're going to be doing this maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow night, maybe the next 7 nights until we just nail our game. And trust me, this is not a witch hunt. It's not let's try and get you. It's making us better. So with that said, let's just jump into it, shall we?
Yes, let's do some role-playing.
And please do your best, okay?
Perfect. All right, should we, Anoop?
Mike's no-nonsense, amazing mentorship attitude is what I want to instill in New York. Anyone wants to volunteer? Rose, let's do it. Trust me, if I had 4 more Mikes, they'd all be here now, today.
Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
How are we this evening?
Fabulous.
Great.
Thank you.
Take a look at our cocktail menu. Our eclectic array of cocktails are one of a kind. Our classic cocktail that we offer is actually the Pani Puri margarita.
Okay.
Are we in the mood to hear a little history about our restaurant here at Vermilion?
Possibly after we get some booze.
You got it.
Yeah, we're
All right.
ready to celebrate.
I like the direction you're going here.
I'll take with the mojito, thank
The
you.
mojito, sure? You don't care for a challenge.
The context has been... You'd asked about, do we want to know about the history of the concept?
Yes, Verhini's the creator, I guess I should say, of all that you see here, the concept behind the restaurant, all that. Just briefly, she traveled.
Stop.
Yeah, sorry, I did not have enough. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll go get these drinks, and I'll be able to explain the menu when I come back.
Thank you so much, Joel.
Thank you. This service meeting was eye-opening. It just shows how much work we have clear-cut ahead of us. But we just have to, because failure at this is absolutely not an option. Okay, guys, good step 1, massive work to be done. It's all in our hands, your hands specifically. The stakes are high because if we find that people are not a good fit, then they won't be with us for very, very long and we need to go back to the drawing board. Here, let me lay it on the line. Until our team is ready, we will not relaunch. Haven't consumed enough? Visit the show online at cnbcprime.com/consumed.
Tonight is our 5th anniversary, and we're cooking for our 5th anniversary, which we're very excited about.
I'm putting together a really special meal that we're going to serve for $5 a plate.
We've been doing a lot of work to improve the quality of the Lower East Side restaurant. It's our flagship store, and the last couple of weeks we've been putting overtime into making sure that this restaurant is everything it should and can be. And this is our opportunity to unveil it to the world and say, hey guys, remember us? We're an amazing restaurant, and we're really stoked to be here. Can everybody smile, please? Aw, thank you so much. You're gonna look very beautiful on Instagram. I appreciate it.
I want to win back the hearts of the neighborhood, the people that we've lost, and remind the new people that have moved into the neighborhood that we're here and we're here to stay.
The 5th anniversary of the Meatball Shop means a whole lot to me, and I think it means a lot to a lot of you that have been here, many of you actually, for 5 years. So very much like a family. Make sure that we remember to celebrate and have a good time tonight for ourselves, because that's the whole point and the reason that we started this entire situation. So, like, for the customers that are coming in, that's amazing, and we're welcoming them as our family and our guests. But let's remember to have a good time, all right?
Jump in here with me, too. You guys can pretty much sit anywhere you like as long as it's not on top of somebody else.
Spinach, broccoli, pork spicy, pork al. Spinach, broccoli, spag.
How many are you guys? 2? Hang out anywhere you like.
Can I get 1 roast veg, please? Thank you.
I was feeling very, very frustrated and depressed about the state of affairs at the Lower East Side. And seeing it back on track, watching the energy in the room, It really warms my heart.
The shirt. That shirt?
Yes, I made it myself.
5 years ago, I can honestly say that my balls were in my stomach. I didn't know what to expect.
Fire 2 more risottos. Fire roasted veg.
5 years, you know, they say you make it 5 years in the restaurant biz. You're doing it. You're really doing it. And we're here, baby. We're here.
Fire me a white. 2 brock, 1 risotto, 1 white.
Now, the bar is first come, first serve. There's some standing tables over here if you could get in. Hey, brother. How you doing? Good to see you.
You too. How's everything?
Great. We're on like a really long wait.
4-hour wait.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Awesome.
Hi, how are you? How many are we going to have? 4? Yeah. Can you come back tomorrow? Our wait is about 3 hours right now. 3 hours? Yeah.
I felt totally separated. If you want me to be honest, I felt totally detached and separated. Max was doing what I do, which is standing at the door and greeting people, and it felt terrible.
Put a little more, maybe a little more cream in there, right? Don't you think? I need 1 on the fly, and then I need 2 on top of those ones, yeah? I have 1 egg on the fly I need, and then I need 2 Dame Mush wearing eggs.
How's it going over there, chef?
Like, actually busy. It's like a vacation.
Yeah?
No stress at all.
It's really kind of weird to see Michael. I don't just forgive and forget. It doesn't work like that.
Are you able to, are you able to actually have a conversation right now?
I mean, I'm feeling like we're reminiscing. This is us actually working, right? No, on the fly, thank you. Can you ring the bell? That'll be a reminiscence. I need 2 Dame Mush.
Why don't you give me some of that salmon roe, dude? I could use some of that.
Are you hungry?
I am. Are you here all night?
I'm gonna stick around for at least a few hours, yeah. Don't you think? I think you should stick around, dude. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Even though our relationship is like a roller coaster. We started this thing as partners, and it's important that we acknowledge that.
The fact that we did this together is extraordinary. 5 years of mayhem, and it actually birthed a baby. It was actually like giving birth, but in the end of it, we actually have like a 6 babies.
Anyway, I love you, man. I'm so happy that we did this.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too. Now get back to work. There's a lot of people I want to eat. I will always be the co-owner of the meatball shop. I'm still a partner in the meatball shop, but my job has changed so drastically. How are you guys doing over here?
Very good, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you very, very much for being here tonight. Things change. People evolve. Businesses evolve. I've got to just suck it up and understand that I am no longer the guy at the meatball shop.
I got 4 risottos all day. Right now, I want 1 risotto under Dame Mush.
I toggle between thinking that I've failed my partnership, and if I had done better, Michael would still be here and we'd be happily running an amazing company that we built together.
Can I get a smash plate? Fire an egg.
And then I toggle to thinking that my partner made a terrible mistake.
Can I get a Naked Day spicy, please?
It has and always will be my intention to make sure that the meatball shop grows and becomes like the best restaurant it could possibly be.
Got those 3 rigs working?
With or without Michael, the meatball shop continues. Done.
Can I get a risotto?
Next Wednesday, taking a bite out of the Big Apple restaurant business. A relaunch faces trial by fire.
Help, please. All the food is sitting here.
Consume the real restaurant business. All new next Wednesday at 10, CNBC.